Lydell Mitchell was drafted out of Penn State in 1972 second round. In 1971, he rushed for 1,567 yards and 26 touchdowns, despite having fellow backfield mate Franco Harris, who is 4 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier. Mitchell's NCAA record of 29 total touchdowns in 1971 was broken later that year by future Cardinal Terry Metcalf. Franco Harris and Lydell Mitchell grew up in South Jersey, about 50 miles apart, and became the first college backfield classmates to each rush for 1,000 yards in an NFL season. Some fans will point to Syracuse's Floyd Little and Larry Zonka, but while they were teammates, they weren't classmates. The Steelers wanted to draft cornerback Willie Buchanan, but Green Bay selected him, so Steelers head coach Chuck Noll then wanted Robert Newhouse. But the Steelers owner's son, Art Rooney Jr., campaigned for Franco. He overwhelmed Noll and got his way. The Colts broke in Mitchell extremely slowly, as bruising Don Nottingham handled the fullback duties, and halfback Don McCauley performed admirably both as a rusher and receiver. It was happy days again for Mitchell after 1973 Week 3, when Nottingham was traded to Miami. In Week 6 against the Jets, Mitchell set an NFL record by rushing 40 times. The record stood for 2 years when Franco ran 41 times in Week 6 versus the Bengals. It was the first game after quarterback Terry Bradshaw was sent to the hospital after being viciously slammed by the Browns' Joe Turkey Jones. Steelers replacement quarterback Mike Kruzek only threw 12 passes in the game. In Week 14, Mitchell set another NFL record by catching 13 passes, the most by a running back at that time. In 1975, he had his best season to date, as he kept racking up big yardage totals on a weekly basis. 1975 ushered in a new head coach for the Baltimore Colts faithful, Ted Marchibroda. He led the Colts to a first-place finish in the AFC Eastern Division with a 10-win, 4-loss record. Mitchell had an even better year in 1976 as he made second-team All-Pro and led the NFL in touches with 349, the exact same number that he had in 1975. That's a lot of touches for a guy who wasn't all that big at 5'11", 204 pounds. In Week 9, Mitchell had 25 touches for 216 yards for an 8.64 yards per touch. The Colts' game plan? Get the ball in the man's hands. All that Chargers head coach Tommy Prothro could do was talk to himself and blow smoke. During the 1977 season, Mitchell broke Hall of Famer Lenny Moore's Colts career rushing yardage record, just like he did at Penn State. In July 1978, Mitchell didn't report to training camp as he was in a contract dispute. He wanted an increase from $100,000 to $200,000 per year, while the Colts countered with a pitiful $10,000 bump. He demanded a trade, and on August 23rd, he was sent to San Diego for running back Joe Washington and a 1979 fifth-round draft pick, which was used by the Colts in a trade for Lions quarterback Greg Landry. He led the Chargers with 820 rushing yards and chipped in with an even 500 receiving yards. In 1979, he had a staph infection that required surgery, and he was released during the final round of roster cuts on August 26, 1980. He signed with the Rams on December 11th to replace an injured Elvis Peacock, and that was that. The only 1970s running back that compares to Mitchell as a dual threat is Chuck Foreman. However, Mitchell had over 350 more yards from scrimmage, twice led the NFL in reception versus Foreman's one, and he was more of a workhorse than Foreman as he led the NFL 2 times in touches and finished in the top 3 seasonal ranks 4 times, while Foreman only finished in the top 5 seasons twice. Some fans may bring up O.J. Simpson. What about him as a dual threat? But did you know that in his 1973-2003 rushing yard season that he only accumulated 70 receiving yards? Yeah, his main job was to run the ball.